Alrighty, we are back at it with yet another Q&A, this time for October 2024. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. Our first question is from A712-KL5WQ. Yeah, that's, you're making my life difficult. Anyways, they say, play Ultra Kill. It will get views. So I think I've put like 7 of these Ultra Kill things into several of my Q&As and then just never done it. But I promise you, I will cover that game at some point. But the main reason that I'm not is mostly because I know that the expectations for if I cover that game are high, and so I would need to really dive into it and figure out all of the ins and outs of it. Otherwise, I'll piss off a bunch of people. And the other thing is that while people are very vocal about the fact that it quote-unquote will get views, pardon me if I don't really believe you. I have a sneaking suspicion that the Ultra Kill people are a very loud minority, and the reality of the day is that if I play the game and cover it on the channel, it will do just as well, if not just slightly better, than any of my other variety reviews, and so there's really no thing that's pushing me to cover this game over anything else, on top of the fact that I still don't know much about it, and there's games that I do know a fair bit about that I still want to get to before I get over to Ultra Kill. In terms of what I'm looking at covering, well, I think the most obvious is Metal Gear Rising, which is something I've talked about a few times. It's next on my list of games that I want to review, although it's probably going to be a little bit, maybe a month or two before I actually get to reviewing it, because I have other things that I want to get to first, as well as the fact that I want to make sure that it's actually good and well thought out. But as I said in a previous Q&A, I think it's what's coming after the Metal Gear Solid 3 review, which should have come out the day after, or no, that's coming out today. That's coming out after I record this. I'm an idiot. So yeah, the next review should be Metal Gear Rising, not sure when I'll get around to it, and then maybe after that we'll get to Ultra Kill. We'll see. They say, Sup Eclipse, back at it again. Curious, when was the Eureka moment for you and the channel, the moment when you finally realized you wanted to and could realistically do YouTube seriously? To add on to it, are there times where you regret kind of being forced to ride the Roblox niche, or are you happy with the direction you've taken things with your game reviews nowadays? Well, I don't really think there was a Eureka moment when it comes to when I realized that I could do this seriously. It was more so the second that I saw views and videos doing well on Roblox and YBA, I was like, well, if I'm gonna ever have a chance to make this work, now's the time, and so I just sort of put all my eggs in the basket and went. It really was not a good strategy whatsoever, and my parents tried to talk me out of it, and I basically ignored all of them, and a few years down the line, I'm so far pretty happy that I ignored all of them, so sorry Mom and Dad about that one. But yeah, I threw all of my heart and soul behind this whole thing, and while it definitely sucks that I've been sort of forced to ride the Roblox niche, as you say, I'm still pretty happy with where things ended up. I'm not stuck on YBA necessarily anymore. I can upload videos on other games on the Roblox platform and occasionally not on the Roblox platform and still get pretty decent views and still put food on the table, and at the end of the day, I'm just happy to be here. I think that my upload schedule itself is kind of unfortunate, and I wish I could be like a lot of those other channels who take a really long time to put out videos and then have them get a ton of views and have them be really well made. But the reality of the day is that I just kind of can't do that. I need to have my upload schedule be consistent, and because of that, a lot of the time the videos that I put out are not up to the quality standard that I would like them to be at, but that's sort of a L that I have to hold in order to make sure that I stay relevant. And the unfortunate part of that is that a lot of the time when I cover games, it's not game reviews, because those take a decent time to make, and so I do these first impression videos where I just sort of jump on for an hour or two, and then I make a video, and when I do that, I'm bound to miss a few things, and then people get mad at me for missing a few things, and sort of we get in this vicious cycle. And those people don't understand that, well, this is just the way it has to be from my end. And while sure, it sucks if your favorite game is getting trashed on and you feel like the reason is because I missed something in the game, oftentimes that's not actually the case. And I see a lot of people blowing things out of proportion where they're like, if he had just known about this, then he would have liked the game. where 99% of the time that's not going to be the case, and people are just sort of nitpicking my video the best they can to try to find reasons why I wouldn't have liked it, when the reality of the day is that the game just wasn't very good. And all I'm doing is really just doing my best to explain why I don't think the game is very good. Our next question is from KerboGuy37, and they say, Eclipse, Unknown Worlds announced Subnautica 2. Do you plan on playing it? Yikes. Anyways, I do plan on playing Subnautica 2, although it might be a little while before I actually end up playing it, because as far as I understand, it's going to be coming out in early access, and the last thing that I want to do is play an early access game that's halfway done and then have to wait like 6 months to play the rest of the game. So in all likelihood, I will be waiting until the game is actually released. I'll probably purchase it in early access because it'll be cheaper then, and then just hold off actually playing it until the game is, well, done. I understand why games do early access, I get it, really, but I can't stand story games that release incomplete because the story is not done. And I don't want to have to wait several months in between each patch in order to play the rest of the story of the game. I think that's an understandable take, and I think that's shared by a fair few people, and while I would like to just jump in on day one and really get into it, because the Subnautica series is really fun, I don't want to ruin the game for myself by playing it before it is finished. The OG Waddle Doo says, just a small question here, how do you feel whenever you make your Daily Dose of Stupid videos? I feel great, because those videos are usually incredibly fun to make. While there are definitely times where I go to do a Daily Dose of Stupid and it's just sort of depressing or it's a little bit frustrating, I think the best part about those videos is I just get to sort of let loose. I get to be unreasonably animated and sort of upset about things that don't really deserve to be that upset about. And it sort of just really lets me go crazy and, I guess, in a way, act when I don't really get the chance to do that super often. I've definitely said this on a Q&A before, but the Daily Dose of Stupids are obviously huge overreactions to things that almost certainly don't deserve it, but I think that's the charm of the series, and that's why I continue doing it, and I think people enjoy being able to watch that. And of course, there's going to be people that don't have that context, and they go into the Daily Dose of Stupids, and they're like, wow, this guy's fucking nuts. And I don't really have a problem with that either. If anything, that's a glowing praise to me that I managed to convince people that I really am that fucking crazy. Of course, the more measured reality of those Daily Dose of Stupid videos is that I really don't care what random people on the internet have to say about me, and I do absolutely get upset about the fact that a lot of these good games on Roblox get shafted and a lot of the worst games sort of get propped up. That does bother me, but it's not scream my head off, want to throw myself out the window worthy. And not only that, but when it comes to people making videos about me or tearing down my channel or trying to tear down my channel, I really try not to hold grudges, and I generally don't, and it helps that my memory, for the most part, is really bad, so most grudges that I probably would hold, I just forget about. And so it does lead to some funny moments where people will come to my DMs and be like, hey, you slighted me and did this thing to me XYZ time ago, and I'm still upset about it. And I just look at it and I'm like, who are you exactly? But really, I don't hold any animosity towards the people that I make fun of in the Daily Dose of Stupid videos the vast, vast majority of the time, and a lot of the time I'm just doing it for the spectacle. The next question from another unpronounceable name that I won't even try, and they say, throughout the games you reviewed, which community is the dumbest? Well, that's kind of funny, given the last question. On that note, which community is the kindest? Apologize for my horrific grammar. I don't know, unless I missed something that seemed pretty alright. Anyways, dumbest community, huh? I don't know. I think that's probably a hard one. I guess I would probably go with Fish Game or Blox Fruit, but I can't really say that it's totally fair to call the players of Blox Fruit all dumb because, well, the vast majority of them are really, really young kids. And I can't be too hard on really, really young kids who just don't know any better. I think the entry point people are pretty stupid for the most part, and they usually give off at least older vibes, so maybe them? I don't know. This isn't an easy question to answer because, well, it's very, very generalized, and I don't want to generalize an entire community of people based on a few people being stupid. And as for the kindest community, I think the same sort of logic applies there. You also have to consider the fact that if I have a glowing praise of a game, there's a higher likelihood that the people behind it are going to be nice about it, and I'm going to get a better impression than if I was negative about a game, because of course that's going to draw out people that are upset, and they're more likely to be, well, stupid. And the reality of the day is that some of those communities that I trashed on could have plenty of really nice people in them, but they just don't come across that way because they're too busy vehemently trying to defend their game. And the same goes for a game that I might have said a lot of good things about. Those people might be really nice right now, but if I had made a complete opposite video and was really upset about the game and didn't like it, there's an equally as high chance that they would have the same reactions that other people that made the shitty games had. So I don't really think that's a fair question necessarily, but I hope I did my best to answer it anyway. This question is from Blabblegun12, who says, "Hey there, Eclipse. I've been a longtime viewer of your channel, and I really enjoy your videos. Keep up the good work. For this Q&A, I have a question. Have you ever considered doing commission-based videos? For example, someone would ask you to cover a specific topic and would pay you for it. I think this could solve the problem of not having video ideas, as you could source them from others, and it would also guarantee that your work is monetized regardless of your view count. That's just a suggestion from my end. I completely understand if you can't pursue it for other reasons. Love your videos and look forward to the next ones." Well, I would never do that, and the main reason that I would never do that is because, well, that's basically just monetizing what I already do, and that's not fair. The vast majority of the games that I talk about in my videos are games that have already been suggested to me, whether it be through YouTube comments or my Discord DMs. And so if I started doing commission-based videos and I had people pay me to cover specific games, that would literally just be what I'm already doing, but I would be trying to exploit my audience for money in order to do it. And that just, yeah, that's scummy. I'm not gonna do that. It's also one of those things, and one of the reasons that when people come to me and they're like, "Hey Eclipse, can you cover my game? I'll pay you to do it," I almost always ghost or ignore them, because I don't want any of that to directly hinder the quality or the trustworthiness of me as a reviewer. I feel like the second that I start taking money from people in order to review their game, that's the point where I'm automatically going to be biased because I've been paid. Either that, or I'm gonna be honest, and if I'm honest and don't like the product, I'm gonna make a bad name for myself in that space, and I don't want to do that. I think that's understandable. I hope it's understandable, but that's my mindset on all of that. Damn it. As the year draws to a close, in your opinion, what's the best Roblox game you've reviewed so far that are the best of the best, and what people should be shown when first trying Roblox out? Mayhaps the top 5 or 3 could work? Well, I talked about it in the last Q&A, I think, but I'm definitely going to do a tier list of the games that I've covered probably so far, just in all at the end of the year, so I do plan on doing that. But I think in terms of what are the best games I've reviewed so far, well, Block Tales is really good. I covered that pretty recently. Pressure was not so bad, and if you like horror games, that one's definitely worth playing. Honestly, pretty much any Roblox game that I review is probably pretty good, and that's something that I sort of noticed about my reviews, and this is a non sequitur for sure, but I'm already talking about it, so I might as well. And let's be realistic, if you clicked on the Q&A video, you're pretty much just listening to this so that way you can listen to me talk. But for the most part, I think that all of my game reviews are positive. I don't think I've ever put out a game review that wasn't a 6 or above, which is pretty funny. It sort of makes sense as to how that happened, because I only really do game reviews on games that I feel like deserve it. And any game that I've played that I don't think deserves it, but I've still played, ends up getting a first impressions video where I'm like, this is shit, I don't want to continue playing it. And yeah, that's sort of that. One of these days I need to do a game review on a Roblox game that's just a real pile of garbage, so that way I have some sort of standard for negative game reviews. Because I feel like a lot of the flack that I get is from people talking about my negative reviews when they don't exist. Like, there isn't any. The second that I start deeming a game not really worth playing is when I throw out the idea of reviewing the game to begin with and end up just making a first impressions video and dropping it. So yeah, I don't know if that really answered the question, but I did my best. Casswary says, two-parter if that's allowed. It sure is. What are your thoughts on the recent RDC reveal that Roblox games will be able to cost USD and developers will receive larger cuts the more expensive the game is? Also just larger cuts in general, 50% for $10, 70% for $50. There also won't be a $10 limit like there is now. Do you think that would push more individuals to stop making cash grab games or make the non-cash grab games a bit more financially viable? Bonus question, what are your thoughts on games that have gacha systems slowly far cosmetics and allow for normal progression otherwise? So for the first one, I actually had no idea about this because I don't cover the Roblox Developer Conference. I don't care. And I pretty much ignore all of the Roblox related stuff, Roblox events, Roblox conferences, all of that stuff. I just don't engage with it because I don't care. That being said, I didn't know about this, and to answer your question, I don't really think this is going to change a whole lot. I hope it does for the sake of the platform, but I highly doubt it will. And that's because, well, Roblox in of itself already has barely any paid access games on the platform that are even remotely worth the amount of money that you need to spend in order to play them. Most paid access games are either complete piles of garbage that aren't even worth playing whatsoever and are just cash-ins, or they're games that are in quote-unquote early access, which are forcing you to pay in order to play an incomplete product which will be free later, which is the worst business model in the history of business models, and please, God, people, stop supporting that garbage. If it's gonna be free later, you shouldn't have to pay people to test the crappy game. That's fucking stupid. Anyways, I think that all this is really going to do is maybe one or two people are going to go really out of their way to try to make a super quality product and charge a whole bunch of money for it, and barely anybody is going to buy into it because, well, it's the Roblox platform, it's mainly a free-to-play platform, and most of the players are people that don't want to pay a bunch of money in order to play a game. They just want to jump in and click the play button. I just think that having to pay a bunch of money for a game on Roblox goes against a lot of the business model of Roblox itself, and I can't see this working whatsoever. On top of all of that, making a game that's expensive on Roblox makes you immediately get compared against actual games, and you can't really compare actual games to Roblox games because of how flawed Roblox is as a platform. This game engine and platform is buggy as hell, full of massive amounts of jank, and there are several things that, well, you just simply can't account for because of the engine that it's running on. So I'm not entirely sure what their game plan here is, but I cannot see this working. As for my thoughts on gacha systems for cosmetics and RNG and stuff like that, I think that I've gotten a bad reputation of being against random in games, when I actually don't think that random necessarily is inherently bad. The problem with random is when random is your whole game. So when you have something like Anime Last Stand, a game that I played relatively recently, where the only way to do anything is random chance and slot machines, I think that that is inherently a massive problem. If there's no way to do any sort of progression outside of random chance, that feels really bad. And if somebody can just get luckier than you and therefore is automatically better than you at the game you're currently playing, that's pay to win, and that's bullshit. That's the kind of things that I want developers to avoid. It's not like obtaining things through random chances sort of a foreign concept to games. It's been around forever, and it's not inherently bad. Deep Woken's chests have random items in them, and you didn't see me coming around saying, getting everything in Deep Woken, it's so much random, it's a kid's slot machine, because you can't constantly pay for all of that stuff. You're not paying for hand re-rolls when it comes to talent cards, you're not paying for different chest drops. It's all in the game by itself. You don't pay for it. But the second that you introduce the ability to buy that kind of stuff, that's when it kind of starts making me scratch my head and get worried. The main problem I have is that a lot of these Roblox games are basically barely disguised casinos for children, and that just isn't good. Anonymous Watcher says, what's your opinion about horror games outside of Roblox? I know you don't like horror games, but I just wanted to hear your opinions on them. Do you think that they lack gameplay, or do you think they're not scary? Well, I don't play them, so I literally can't answer this question. I don't know why I picked it, because I literally can't answer it. I don't play horror games outside of Roblox, nor do I play horror games on Roblox, really. I don't like the game genre, so I just sort of avoid them. I have been told, at the very least, that a lot of the problems that I had with Pressure in terms of the gameplay being a non-game is very similar to a lot of horror games, which further emphasizes why I don't really like the genre. I've said this a lot, but I like to play my games, not watch my games. And if the game is just sort of a watching simulator or a walking simulator where you get scared every once in a while, that's not for me. And finally, Retas8080 says, how much do you like Roblox? As in whether you enjoy playing it on your own time, and if you don't, what made you change your mind? Well, it depends what I'm playing, I guess. Do I play it on my own time? No, not at all. I can't remember the last time that I booted up Roblox to play it on my own time without some sort of goal in mind. Probably back when I was still playing TCA. Now that being said, what made me change my mind on that? I mean, I guess I just got bored. Roblox as a platform is filled with a whole lot of garbage, and so if I don't want to play garbage, it's very difficult to sift through all of the stuff that isn't garbage, and a lot of the stuff that isn't garbage I've already played. So I don't have too many reasons to log on, I guess. That's what made me change my mind? I don't know, that's a rather difficult question, but I did my best. Either way, it was the last question on here, so we're gonna be wrapping things up. As always, when it comes to the Q&As, I do them every month, and I usually put out a community post before I do them, so keep an eye out for that towards the end of next month if you want your question answered. Either way, I'm done here, so if you enjoyed the video, you can leave a like and subscribe. If you didn't, don't. And with all that being said, have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you guys next time.